and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Over 100 federal judges failed to recuse themselves from cases in which they were ruling on matters involving firms in which they had a financial interest.
Oh my goodness.
Those radical comrades over at the Wall Street Journal, which by the way is doing some really excellent reporting these days, reported on this. It's gotten a fair amount of press. There have been a House Judiciary Committee Chairman Nadler is actually commenting on this situation, but apparently in many cases these were judges that were ruling on cases in which they had stock holdings or some other kind of financial interest, and these judges just flat out failed to disclose their financial interests. And they didn't recuse themselves. So now these cases are in jeopardy. Their rulings are in jeopardy. And I talk about on this show all the time about the fact that people don't have faith in our institutions because our institutions are continuously showing their rear ends, and it makes people not believe in our institutions. And then you wonder why there is, why people don't follow what may seem to be well-intended directives from our institutions. Well, nobody trusts them. You can't even rely on federal judges. And by the way, the report made it clear that some of these judges were appointed by Lyndon Johnson all the way to Donald Trump. So I mean, these are, this does not appear to be a partisan issue. This is where you have federal judges who are sleeping on the job and not doing what they need to do. And now their rulings are going to be called into question, and which will further upend our judiciary, which does not need this right now. Guys, I mean...
Well,
it goes...
Go ahead,
it's like, I feel like we're one of the only places that consistently, talk about these things properly and talk about where this all heads to.
Yeah.
We are watching the collapse of the American system.
Yeah.
And it's like you can go in history and look up any empire, and you will see a very, very similar, some much closer than others, Rome, for example, or as Kit rightly brought up, which would be a version of Rome, the Byzantium fall, which is the second version of Rome. We're watching the country collapse.
Yeah.
And I think so many people, especially on mainstream news, just act like everything's fine and America's good, and we just, if we just adjusted the rates at which we charged medicine prices or APRs on homes, America would be solved. Or if we bombed these places instead of these places, America would be solved. And I just feel bad because I think you guys watching this that have watched us for a while understand fundamentally that this is a thing that is happening, and you have the ability both mentally, physically, financially to prepare for this collapse that we're going under. A lot of Americans are going to be held and are going to be completely blindsided by this.
Yes.
I don't think anyone realizes just how corrupt the whole system is. Thanks to Citizens United and McCutcheon's decision, thanks to the fact that our media is owned by corporations such as the military-industrial complex, big oil, big pharma, you name
Industrial
it.
Complex.
Thank you for that one as well. And I just want to remind everyone too, and to a story that's connected to this, but let's look at also heroic individuals like Steven Donziger, who, mind you, he's under house arrest for 2+ years.
For a 90-day infraction, was it?
Yeah, but the thing is at the behest of a corporation. It's not any government. It's a corporation that's doing this to this man. And I want to let everyone know that, in fact, breaking right now in a huge win for his campaign, at least some justice, the judge who's presiding over it, Judge Preska, is now allowing remote audio access to his sentencing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and anyone around the world can dial in and listen. I will be speaking. That's something that's breaking right now from Steven Donziger's campaign. But again, this judge is presiding over a case where she also has some connections to Chevron. We've talked about this on the show.
That's the problem, is everyone's financially tied together. It's like everyone's fallen on a spider web, so they all act together to not break the integrity of the web, even though they're hosting a spider.
Yeah. So right now, as a note to this, we have a failed system. relying on the courts, relying on our politicians, relying on anyone that's a governor or a president at this point is a fool's dream. The real power has to come from the people. And we have to start really talking about building a real infrastructure for a general strike, for talking about third parties, and doing ballot initiatives. The people have to get out there in the streets. The people have to start speaking out because corporate media will not do it. Let's even bring up that the failure of the fact that the media isn't really, or for a long time, has ignored the fact that our judges and our politicians have been corrupt for so long.
Hey, they're not
This
corrupt.
is
It's
breaking
just
news.
lobbying, which is a different word, makes all the difference. I'm not stabbing someone to death. I'm just moving my hand with a knife and there happen to be in the way. It's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.